The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to our webinar series entitled Construction Powered by Acumatica. In this webinar installment, we'll focus on using Acumatica Construction Edition to track KPIs and performance metrics to help you become more efficient and profitable. My name is Mary Williams, and I'm the CEO of Projects Analytics, and I will be your presenter today. And there will be a recording which I'll provide to you later today. As you heard at the introduction, all mics have been muted to eliminate background noises. I'd also like to encourage you to submit questions. There should be a question section on your dashboard, and I'll try to answer as many as possible at the conclusion of the presentation. And additionally, if I don't get to all of them, I will email all responses to questions after the webinar. So today's agenda includes a very brief introduction to both Projects Analytics as well as Acumatica. And then we'll have an introduction to Acumatica Construction Edition. And then we'll jump right into the software for a product overview. So as I indicated, my company is Projects Analytics. We've been in business since 1985, and we've focused exclusively on assisting construction firms to implement construction accounting, project management, and project scheduling solutions to help you increase your efficiency and profitability with effective project controls. In addition to partnering with Acumatica, we are also partners with Oracle Primavera and Alicosoft Power Project. Those are both project management, project scheduling solutions that are used in the construction industry quite frequently. So let's kind of review some of the comments we are hearing from folks in the construction industry. And number one, as always, is we need to be more efficient in order to remain profitable and competitive. And I'd like to add a caveat to that and say, particularly in this current economic conditions where we're dealing with inflation as well as supply chain issues. And we're still dealing after 2.5 years with COVID-19, and so that does require folks, companies, to support and empower a remote workforce. And so using the traditional client-server solutions sometimes are not able to extend to remote workforce. Many companies are investing in other best-of-breed construction cloud applications. For example, Procore or ProEst are very two common cloud applications used in the construction industry, and they'd like to have their construction accounting systems in the cloud as well. Across the board, everybody needs better visibility across all parts of their business, so one integrated, cohesive solution is the best answer. Many construction companies, as well as manufacturing companies, would also like to extend access to their data to their customers, and Acumatica does have a customer portal which will facilitate that. And another common theme we hear among construction companies is, although we would like for all of our employees to have access to our construction accounting system for a variety of reasons, we simply cannot afford the per-user pricing for a new system. So let's talk about who is Acumatica. So Acumatica has been facilitating the digital transformation for over a decade now and bringing enterprise-grade tools to the mid-market at small business prices. Acumatica continues to receive accolades in the eyes of both customers and analysts, and I've highlighted a few here. Up at the top left corner is a study conducted by Nucleus Research, which found that Acumatica is consistently ranked as a leader in usability in the ERP Technology Value Matrix. And then down at the bottom right, Gartner rated Acumatica as highest in customer satisfaction for cloud applications. And it cites its built-in user guide for self-learning as roles and requirements evolve, and since it's a cloud application, for its ability to be accessed on the device of your choice. So customer references on both of these studies noted that Acumatica is simple to use and reduces overall clicks through streamlined workflows. So why exactly do customers choose Acumatica? Well, first off, it is a cloud application. It has been a cloud application from its inception. It is not a traditional client server application that's been tweaked to run in the cloud. Therefore, you can access anywhere, anytime, on any device, whether you're sitting in your office, whether you're traveling, or as happens frequently in the construction industry, you're literally at the job site using a mobile device to communicate with your system. Acumatica facilitates all of that. Acumatica's open architecture also facilitates rapid integration to some of the best-in-breed construction applications. For example, you'll see Procore and ProEst on this list. You'll also see DocuSign, Office 365. There are many ISVs, which are independent software vendors, that provide integrations to Acumatica and are approved by Acumatica. You can choose your preferred deployment option, whether it's the public cloud maintained on AWS servers, or you may need to use a private cloud. For example, some government contractors need to go to that solution. Regardless of your initial choice, you're not locked into that choice. You can go back and forth between those two deployment options without any cost or any penalties. One of the most attractive features that customers find about Acumatica is its modern, growth-friendly licensing. Many folks nowadays would really find it beneficial to extend access to the system to all employees, not just a few. Acumatica will facilitate that because there are no per-user fees. So you can extend to all employees as well as to key partners, perhaps even to customers, helping you to improve communications, remove business bottlenecks, and hopefully improve your results. So Acumatica's pricing is based on the IT infrastructure that you consume, not per user pricing. Therefore, it scales as your business grows or contracts, and it can flex with seasonal requirements. Acumatica's core products include financial management, project accounting, inventory management, customer management or CRM, and payroll. Acumatica's Construction Edition, which we'll be discussing today, includes construction financials, job cost accounting, payroll, change management, and as we saw, many integrations to best-of-breed construction applications. All of these hosted on a mobile and modern cloud platform, providing one cohesive solution. So you'll be able to experience value from day one out of the box with Acumatica's role-based dashboards and menus, with industry standard reports, KPIs, and metrics, all of which are easily configurable by the user. You can also add multi-factor authentication to add an additional layer of security. Acumatica also comes with Open University, which is free training to make sure that all of your users stay up to date with the software. Acumatica also provides a project management solution, and you can see by the list of documents that we have here, RFIs, issues, daily field reports. These are very integral documents when it comes to tracking a project. Number one, to keep it on schedule and to keep it from going over budget, but they also become very integral if you get involved in claims or litigation. So it's very important in those scenarios that everything be in one spot so you can easily search through it. So that is what Acumatica's project management application integrates with the rest of the system and helps facilitate that. Now the next slide just shows a sampling of some of Acumatica's construction customers, and you can see they span a wide array of types of construction companies. I'll let you take a look at that. And let's jump into the software now and take a look at Acumatica. So let me flip to my Acumatica instance. So as I log in, I would like to remind everyone that this is a true cloud application, so you can access anywhere, anytime, on any device. And you can, as you log in, add multi-factor authentication to add an additional layer of security. Now, when I initially log into Acumatica Construction Edition, what exactly do I see? Well, a lot of the data that you see hinges upon the permissions that have been given to you. But there are three major components I'd like to review, and we'll go through these each in more detail. First of all, up at the top, we can see that this is our traditional nav bar. Over to the left are the workspaces. These are all the menu items and processing items that you need to do your daily work. I see everything here because I am the admin. I have an admin permission. Most users would only see those items that they needed to see on a daily basis. And then over on the right is my preferred homepage dashboard. These dashboards are role-based, and we'll get into that here in a second. But let's start up on the nav bar just to give you an orientation through Acumatica. Up at the top left, we can see the Acumatica logo. Now, you don't need to leave the Acumatica logo there. You can put your own logo. Additionally, you can tweak the color scheme that you see on the nav bar to match your corporate branding. So not only does that have a cosmetic reason for it, but it also provides a quick way to get back to your home page. So for example, if I'm down on my construction workspace and I'm working in projects, and I've spent all day working here, I can quickly go back to my home page just by clicking on whichever logo is up here. So it's just another quick way to navigate back to the home page. Now, to the right of the Acumatica logo is Universal Search. Universal Search is a feature that lets you access records quickly and see everything about a particular record in one spot. So I'll give you three examples. Let's say I'm the controller and I'm getting ready to do year-end close and I need to produce my 1099s, but I completely forgot how to do it from last year. You know, we only do that once a year. So I can put 1099 there. And let's look at what can be returned from this search. First of all, menu items. So right off, I can select one of these menu items just by clicking on the hyperlink and go directly to that process. I don't need to navigate through endless menus. If I select transactions and profiles, this will display any transactions and profiles that have the numbers 1099 in them. And of course, anytime you see the hyperlink, you can drill down directly to that record. Now, we'll also see some help topics on this particular search, which will help guide us through the process of making a year-end close, particularly as it relates to 1099s. And then a particular search may also return files. These are files, external files that have been uploaded to your Acumatica system. So all that information is in one spot. Now, another scenario, we were talking about the project management documents, RFIs, transmittals, and how those really do become important if any claims or litigation come up. So let's say I have a problem that's come up on multiple projects relating to some type of concrete, the inappropriate concrete. I can put a search in here for concrete and then review the results. So there's no menu items that deal with concrete, but if I go to transactions and profiles, I'll see all of the profiles, vendor profiles, I'll see subcontracts, bills, checks, so on and so forth, that have the word concrete in them. And I can drill down and explore those to see if they might help support my cause or not. Additionally, I can go to files and see any external files that might have been uploaded to document what the concrete problem was. So here we can see some rebar images and so on. So again, everything's in one spot. Now, the third option I'm going to show you here, or third example, is you can search directly for records. So if I'm the AP clerk and I get a call regarding one of our open invoices, I can just type that invoice directly in here. So I'll just do it. And go to transactions and profiles, and here I can see everything with those numbers in it. So here's that AP bill for Cornerstone Concrete. I can drill down. I can even go to files and view all of the any files that have been uploaded associated with that. So Universal Search can be a really good friend to you, helping you to quickly and efficiently locate records helping avoid needless navigation through menus and things. Now, to the right of the search is another quick way to access records. That's the recently viewed items. And there's three components here. Over on the left, you'll see that all of the recently viewed records are organized by type. So if I had previously looked at an AP document and I wanted to go back to that, I could just select that right there. In the middle are all of those recently viewed records. And then over to the right, I can designate some of those records as favorites, and they would display over on the right, all with easy accessibility just by clicking on the hyperlink. So again, the universal search and recently viewed items really help you to locate records quickly. Now, to the right of the recently viewed items, I can see a list of the companies and branches that I'm tracking in this database. So in this data set, I've got 3 companies, and 2 of those companies have branches. Notice that Products Wholesale has a blue check mark. That means that that's my default branch. And the significance of that is when I go to enter transactions or I go to enter profiles, such as maybe a new project or a new subcontract, that will be the default branch associated with that record. Now, I'm just going to select Services East just for a second so that you can see how you can set up different schema or different appearance associated with each company and or branch. And that not only serves to display the appropriate branding for that particular branch or company, but it also enables you to alert the users that, hey, I might be in a different branch. If we go over to the next item, that's the business date, and this is another productivity tool. It will default to today's date, but of course the user can override it. And the significance of that is that will be the date that pre-fills as a default on transactions and records that you create on that day. But if, for example, if I'm the AP clerk and I've been on vacation for 10 days, I have a stack of invoices a foot tall that all go to last month. Well, maybe I want to change that date to maybe May 31st so that I can easily rifle through that list without having to constantly override the date. To the right of that is help. And then we've got admin over to the right where each user can define some of their preferences, and the most important preference that they would define here would be the preferred dashboard that they see on the home page. Now I am going to revert my branch back to Products Wholesale, and we should see the screen change accordingly. All right, so let's, we reviewed the nav bar. Let's go over here to the left just to give you a little bit more flavor for the navigation. These are the workspaces over on the left. This is where you enter all of your transactions, process things, print reports. So for example, if I go to payables, I can see that there's some transactions I can enter, there's reports, there's forms I can print. One of the nice things about Acumatica is that all the workspaces are laid out in the same way. So once a user knows how to use one, they can generalize to another. So up at the top, all of the workspaces have menu tiles, and typically they represent the most common menu item that that particular user might use. And then beneath there, you can see I have various other menu items. This is called my quick menu. And it's actually a reduced amount of menu items based on the items I most frequently do. If you look down below at the bottom in the middle, it says show all. That will show me all of my or all of the menu items available to me in payables. Now, this is not only a role-based workspace, but a user can tweak it to meet their particular responsibilities. It's super simple to do. All they do is come over here to the left-hand side, click the 3 dots, and select Edit Menu. They can add more tiles, they can add more menu items to their quick menu, and just basically tailor it to what their workflow is and what their job responsibilities are. And then you can exit menu editing. All of that can be done without even talking to your IT department. I'm going to just select the construction workspace just briefly so you can see some of the items that you can view here. You've got various transactions that you would be entering, profiles such as projects and rate tables and things. If I scroll down a little bit further, all of the workspaces enable you to produce or run processes which allow you to perform a particular function, such as run project billing across multiple projects versus just one at a time. So that helps keep everyone as efficient as possible. Additionally, if you have a particular menu item that you like to access frequently, like maybe I like to access projects a lot, I can come over and click on the star. And when I do that, that adds it to my favorites, which is another navigation feature. I can come up to favorites on the workspaces, and then I can get visibility to all of the various workspaces that I have the permissions to see. Here are my favorites. So those are your workspaces. Like I say, a user may only see a few of these, just depends on their role. But the key point about workspaces, they do provide the menu items you need to work with. You can customize them based on the user, and they only see the permissions that they've been allotted. Now over on the right, back to the home page, we've got the dashboard. And this is really one of the most important features of Acumatica, because this actually becomes the starting point of your day-to-day work. Each user can pick their preferred dashboard. Mine is the project overview dashboard. Now that doesn't preclude you from looking at other dashboards. So I'm just going to show you some of the other dashboards that are out of the box before we delve into this dashboard in more detail. So if I come back over to my workspaces, there's actually a workspace called dashboards. And here we can see all of the various dashboards that are available out of the box. So we've got some for finance and payroll and for tracking your projects and things. And again, the ones that have the yellow star mean that I've added those to my favorites, making them really easily accessible. I'll go ahead and click back up on my Acumatica logo, and now I'll be back at my dashboard. So basically, this type of dashboard in a construction environment helps us monitor the health and performance of our project. All of these widgets or reports that are on the dashboard provide drill down capability to help you investigate any problems so that it makes it easy to take corrective action. Now, dashboards are basically composed of widgets, and those widgets can take a variety of formats, which we'll look at here shortly. Those widgets contain summary data with drill down capability. So let's take a look at some of these, starting with costs by project. So that's an important item to keep track of when you're monitoring construction projects. So what do we see here? Well, we see each project, and we can drill down and look at those directly from the dashboard. But more importantly, we're looking at the revised estimate, which includes any approved change orders, our actual cost to date, which would come from payroll and accounts payable, any open POs and subcontracts, and then two really important columns showing us the status of our remaining estimate. Now notice that the first project has minus remaining estimate and remaining estimate percent. Now those are not that big of dollar numbers, but regardless, at least it gives you that warning. And of course, when you see something negative like that, or that shows that your costs have exceeded your estimate, that would be a scenario where you probably would want to select that project and drill down and explore all of the transactions that comprise those actual costs. Okay, I'm waiting for internet's a tad bit slow today. Now, the second widget that we are going, type of widget that we can look at is exploring the original estimates. So we can see original estimate and revised estimates by project. So it's probably pretty obvious to you that the format here is a pie chart, and each slice of the pie is representing a project. So if I see an anomaly, I can click on the slice of the pie and drill down and explore those details. So in this example, I can see my hotel project takes a big portion or comprises a big portion of my overall project portfolio. So I would probably want to drill down and look in that in more detail. Now moving over to the right is my remaining estimate percent by project. And as I scroll down, I can see in descending order what my remaining estimate percent is by project. Obviously, each bar represents a project. So these that are farther down the list here, indicating that we're running out of remaining estimate or we're in the negative, we may want to explore further. Okay, scrolling down a little bit further, just investigating some of these other widgets. Here's estimated profit by project. Again, a very simple, similar type of view, but it's showing me profit percent by project. Again, this is in descending order. Sorry, my computer's catching up with me. These are in descending order by profit percent. So I can quickly and easily see which projects are meeting my corporate goals and which aren't, and I can scroll over to those and drill down and look at them in more detail. Now over to the right, you can also incorporate webcams on your dashboard. This would be a project webcam that helps me keep track of things going on the job site. A lot of you probably have those. The next widget is one that I've customized as the user. So users can not only customize their workspace, they can customize the dashboard. So this one originally was called gross profit percent, but I've added on a little caveat here saying only show me those projects where the gross profit percent is less than 40%. Let's just assume that's my corporate goal. So here I can manage by exception. I can see all of the projects that meet that criteria. I can review the contract, the estimated gross profit in dollars, and the estimated gross profit percent. And as you can see, the only ones listed are under 40%. So just like we saw up above, the hotel project takes a huge portion or comprises a huge portion of our overall portfolio. So we would probably want to investigate that, which we will do shortly here. So just coming back down, contract status by project, I can see original contract, approved changes, revised contract, another pie chart showing gross profit in dollars, a change order log, helping me to keep track of any scope changes so that we're sure we aren't leaving any money on the table. As we all know, many construction projects live and die by change orders. Now, the last widget at the bottom on this particular workspace is Open Requests for Information. So these are my RFIs. And we all know that RFIs, the purpose of an RFI is to pose a question and route it to the appropriate people to get an answer for that question. And if we don't get that question answered in an expeditious manner, we risk a schedule delay, a design change, or we may have cost impacts. So it's really important that they're tracked. So here we can actually drill down to the RFI to disposition it. We have visibility to the owner. We can see which project it's associated with, when the due date was, which we can see quite a while ago. And then we can track whether there's a schedule impact, whether there's a cost impact, and or a design change involved with that particular RFI. So again, we want to be sure we're keeping track of all of that so that we're not risking a delay or cost overrun. So RFIs can be entered in a variety of places. I could click the plus sign here and add it directly to my from my dashboard. I could go to my project management module and enter it here, or I could always go and do that via my mobile device. Regardless of where you enter it, the data on the dashboard is updated in real time, so you're sure that you are making decisions based on current data. Now, this is just one example of a construction dashboard and the metrics that you might have access to. I'd like to pop over to my favorites and just show you another construction dashboard. It won't be in as much detail, but this has different kinds of metrics that it's displaying. So over here on the left, you can see that we've got what we call scorecards. And of course, we're using the traffic light concept. So anything that's red indicates I am exceeding my company's threshold for that particular item. So here I can see my late project tasks, drill down and see which projects they're associated with. I can see unprofitable projects just by clicking here. Here they are, and I can drill down further from there. So the traffic light concept can be incorporated through all of the dashboards, and they do help bring attention quickly to any problems that you might be having, helping you to get visibility to those earlier in the process. This particular dashboard also includes the ball and court, which would be the RFIs, and it also has project issues. So project issues are another one of those project management documents that you need to track and be sure you resolve, because they usually identify problems at the job site. For example, drywall problem on the job site, a design change for the second floor, the lobby logo is wrong, a whole plethora of possible issues. And the issue document provides the vehicle for tracking this to its resolution and for keeping any documentation about that, such as pictures and communications. So just to reiterate one more time, it's very important to resolve ball and courts, RFIs, project issues, daily field reports, because many times they become the starting point for the change management process. And with Acumatica, you could actually drill down to one of these RFIs or issues and initiate a change order directly from there. So it makes it very efficient. Now I'm going to go back up to my Acumatica logo, and let's say that I'm looking at my dashboard and I see, wow, my construction hotel might not be performing as well as I thought. It comprises such a large part of my portfolio. I might want to drill down and look at the types of information that I can track about that project and see where we went wrong. So as I mentioned, I could do that directly here from the dashboard just by clicking the hotel, or I can access it from my construction workspace, which is what I'm going to do. So projects, I would go to the profiles and access projects. Notice I could create a new project here, but we just want to look at the projects. So when I select projects, it's going to bring up all of my projects, or at least those projects I have the rights to see. And I'd like to bring your attention that we don't just have one long list of projects. We've got a series of tabs across the top. Those are basically filters based upon the status of the project. So although I see all records on the first tab, I can click on active to see all of the active projects. I can get a handle on what might be coming up in the future. What types of resources do I need to plan for by looking at the planned or pending approval projects? I can look at completed projects to get a visibility to historical projects that might give me some lessons learned for my new projects. And then, of course, we've filtered the last tab to only show construction projects because this database has other types of projects in it. Now, you don't have to make these tabs based on status. Maybe you decide to do it by project manager, so the project manager goes right to their projects. It's configurable by you is my point. Now I'm going to go back to all records and point out a couple things here. First of all, if I look at the bottom right, you can see there's 4 pages worth of projects that I need to sift through to find my hotel project. So what's a quick way to do it? Well, one way is I could put a filter on any one of these column headers to help locate the project. Now my name as the project manager is Jordan Kinlear. So I am going to filter this column for project manager so that I only see my projects. It's super simple. Users pick up on this very quickly. You can just click on project manager, say show me any project manager equals, and I'll click on the search and just type Jordan or JOR. And there you go, there's Jordan. So it makes it very easy for users to navigate through and find the records that they're looking for. Now notice that we are looking for the hotel project, which is down below here. And want to bring your attention to the two yellow indicators. Those indicate that there are files associated with this project, which I can access here by clicking on the link. I can even upload more either directly here or by using the mobile app. And then the second indicator is just a note where you can use to communicate with other project team members, perhaps keeping a record of this project. Now over on the right, there are two icons. One is projects, one is customers. This is my sidebar. I'm going to go ahead and click on projects. Now the point of this is it brings up the project record for the currently selected project. So let's say I've got all of these projects and I would like to search through the compliance documents for each one of these projects to make sure those projects are in compliance. Because once again, if we aren't in compliance, we can't get paid and we can't pay our subs and vendors. So important to keep that up. So I'm just going to click on these arrows and bring up the compliance screen or tab. And then I can just select each project over on the left and explore the compliance status of each one of those. It's not looking too good. Most of them are expired. So that's one way to do it. It lets me navigate through information quickly without having to open up each project individually. Now I can toggle that view to customers. Same principle applies. So let's say here I would like to explore or take a look at all of the contacts associated with each project. Maybe I need to follow up or just do some communications with them. I can select each project and it will bring up the customer associated with that project, allowing me to quickly access the contacts associated with it. Again, without having to drill down, open up the project, close the project, and open up another project. It's just another efficiency tool. I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now our objective here was to delve down or drill down into the hotel project. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the hotel and it will bring up the record. And I'd like to for you to observe that not only are the workspaces all laid out the same way, so are the records. So there's usually a top portion at the top for notes and files that you can see. You've got the various toolbars containing commands specific to that record type, such as run the project billing. And then you've got the header portion or summary portion of the project, and then the detail tabs down below. Now on the summary portion here, I'm going to go ahead and expand that. Two things I wanted to point out. Number one, for efficiency purposes, you can use a template to initially create your project if you like to standardize the way you set them up, or you have a customer that has a particular preference. And then over on the right is a little mini P&L. I could see actual income, expenses, and margin. I'll go ahead and collapse that. From there, we can explore all of the information associated with this project, starting with the summary info, where we can identify at what level we want to track the cost and revenue, and what kind of workflow do we want to track for our change orders. So that can all be established at the project level. What is the default billing rule for this project? This is my construction progress billing. And then over to the right, what are my retainage specs? Now moving over, we're going to track tasks on our project, and these tasks can be entered in a variety of ways. One way is I just use a template and they come in from that. Another way is I manually enter them just by clicking the plus sign, or I can add tasks from a list of common tasks. I want to bring your attention though to this little icon. It looks kind of innocent, but if you hover over it, it says load records from a file. That capability exists in almost every grid in Acumatica. So if you have an Excel spreadsheet, you can load those directly into these grids just by selecting that icon. And that's really important in construction because you may have an estimating tool that will produce that type of a file, and that way you don't have to re-enter it. You can just copy it or load it from the spreadsheet. Take a look at our cost budget. We can see all of the tasks and cost types that we're tracking. Let's see, let's focus here on concrete forming. can see there's a lot of money involved with concrete forming. I just want to bring attention to the columns that we're looking at. You've got your original and revised budget, your commitments, your actuals, projected, your cost codes, any potential change orders, and so on. The particular columns that you see can be tweaked by the user. So if you're a user and you say that is way too many columns for me, I can adjust what's displayed. And this again is a feature of every grid. So if you look over here to the left, there's a little icon there that's called the column configurator. I'll click there. And on the left will be the available columns. I could even have more columns than I currently have. And then there's the selected columns over to the right. And you use the arrows in the middle to move back and forth, and the arrows on the right, the up and down, to change the position. Point is, users can customize these grids to meet their workflow requirements. Now, talking about drilling down, if you see anomalies, well, here I am looking at cost for my concrete subcontractor. Well, we can easily see what comprises that by selecting View Commitments or View Transactions. So I can drill down immediately and see the commitment information, any change orders, or any AP invoices associated with that. Now, similarly, if I go to the revenue budget, this is really working the same way, except here, the amounts we're tracking will be billable amounts to the customer. So we can see this basically is like my application for payment. But you can see all of the different columns that are displayed here. And of course, I've got the column configurator again, allowing me to tweak what's displayed. And I've got the ability to upload records from a file. And just like on the cost budget, if I select concrete here, I can select View Transactions and see all of the accounts receivable transactions associated with that particular contract line item. And I can even run billing directly from here. If I come over to the percent complete column, I can scroll down, add a percent complete, and then select Run Project Billing. And that will create my accounts receivable invoices and or my AIA billings. So you can either run the project billing directly here, or if you prefer, you can go back to the construction workspace and perform one of those processes where you can run billing across multiple projects at the same time. On the Balances tab, we have a little P&L. We can see the revenue and the different cost types. And again, we can select one of those and view the transactions and commitment details. We can look at our commitments. That would be POs and subcontracts. We can even drill down and look at those specifically. We can even see the files that have been attached to each specific commitment. We can look at all of the AR invoices associated with that project. We can print an AIA or release retainage. And then we can also view change orders and change requests. Notice I can add a change order here, though that's normally not the default place you would do it. Normally you would add a change order either with the mobile device or as a function of processing an RFI or an issue. And then lastly, I will show you that compliance document or compliance tab again, where you can see the compliance documents, whether it's workers' comp or general liability insurance or whatever that you need to be tracking and what the status is. And of course, I'm getting a warning, hey, your document is expired. So I'm not going to be able to generate checks and pay that subcontractor. So it behooves everybody to stay up to date so that the projects keep moving on. So that is the project record. And the significance of this is that we saw on our dashboard that the hotel project comprises a huge amount of our portfolio. Maybe it's not up to our profit percentage goals. We drill down, we get access to everything right in one fell swoop. Now I'm going to go back to the construction workspace, and those of you who are controllers probably are familiar with a report that's very integral to your construction business, and that's the WIP report. So this WIP report, normally you would enter that, you would add this or print this at month end, and this gives you visibility to all of the billings and costs and over under billings. Nice thing is that you can print it as of a particular point in time. That's important. If you're a couple months behind for some reason in reconciling to the GL, you can put the date in that you want to reconcile to. I can run the report. This will look very familiar to a lot of you, but here I can see for every project, I can see the contract status, the estimated costs, profit percentages, the actuals, and then over here to the right, you've got your over-under billings. And then as with anything, anytime I see one of these hyperlinks, it means I can drill down to the details. So if I click on the construction hotel, it will bring up the same report, only this time it will be by task and cost code. And I'll see the task total as well as the cost code total for every one of those metrics. Okay, I'm going to go back up to the my dashboard, and just to recap that the construction works dashboards provide a variety of performance metrics, all of which have drill down capability, helping you to focus on managing your projects versus spending time sifting through voluminous reports and things. I would like to briefly take a look at some financial performance indicators. Remember, I put those in my favorites. And I'm going to select the controller dashboard because this gives us visibility to both AP and AR. So we know that as a controller, we've got to make sure we have cash coming in and that we're taking care of our cash requirements. So this dashboard works on the concept of the traffic lights as well, and it's going to show me both AR and AP. And you can see some of these items have exceeded their tolerance based on our company's tolerances. I've got some overdue AR. I can see what projected cash on hand, my AP. Can see any customers on credit hold. Scrolling down, I've got pie charts for the aging. I can see which portion of the aging is the oldest and drill down and make collection calls. And similarly with the AP aging. And then we've got our cash position. It's important to always know what your cash position is. This is by fiscal period. And notice that this is actually divided into different categories as well, and you can drill down to each one of those little bars. Income and expenses by period. I can select any one of the dots there and drill down to the details for both the income and expenses. Here's my current period expenses, the large proportion of which is consumed by cost of goods sold. And then just different ways of looking at income and expenses. So that is my controller dashboard. And again, the controller's key performance metrics, as are all of the other dashboards, updated in real time, giving you visibility to any possible problems and hopefully the time to spend correcting it and maybe mitigating any problems. Now at this point, I'm actually going to move on and show you briefly the mobile device. So I'm going to move out of the device and I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that I can get this logged in. Okay, yay, successful. All right. Okay, so I actually have already logged into my Acumatica mobile device and hopefully it populates here. Point is the items that you'll see in your mobile device or your mobile device mimic what you're able to see from your desktop. So your permissions follow what you're doing here. So here I can see those late project tasks. I can see my unprofitable projects just by clicking on it. So I don't need to be in my office to look at this stuff. I can easily do it remotely. You know, maybe I'm having dinner somewhere, or maybe I'm at the beach. I can see those very same recently visited items over here. Scrolling down a tad bit more are the workspaces I have access to. So under projects, if I go ahead and select the project management workspaces, I can see the daily field reports and so on. I can add new ones by clicking on the plus sign, but if I want to see my RFIs, I just click on RFIs and bring those up, and I can add a new one. And not only can I add it, I can attach a photo to it and then upload it to my database, which would be updated in real time. So not only do you have your various workspaces, you also have access to the same dashboards that we had access to. So here's my AP clerk, and we can see when it comes up that it will look like it's got your various red light, green light concepts, as well as the pie charts and things. And if I look at my project overview dashboard, I'm actually going to flip this to the side so you can see it a little bit better. But here you can see all of those widgets that were on my project overview dashboard. So it helps everybody stay up to date at all times, regardless of where they're at. And that is particularly important in the construction industry because we are many times remote from an actual office. I'm going to go ahead and close down the mobile, and I'm going to do a recap here. And let's first recap the concept of the dashboard. So just to reiterate, they are role-based out of the box. They provide real-time update so that you're making decisions with current data. Users can customize their dashboards. They all have summary data with drill down capability, which we saw with the project record. And you can manage by exception using traffic lights to provide early visibility to problems. Now, something I didn't mention as we were looking through those metrics is an add-on to Acumatica called CFMA Benchmarker. Those of you who are controllers probably know that the CFMA is the Construction Financial Management Association, and they have a link from Acumatica to their benchmarker database of over 200 metrics that have been taken across 110 peer group categories. So this benchmarker comes with some pre-configured dashboards, reports, and calculations. But when you get down to it, what it allows you to do is to compare your metrics to the metrics of your peers, just to see how you're doing. So it can be very useful. And then lastly, let's just recap what we've learned about Acumatica as a whole. As a cloud-based application, you can access anywhere, anytime, on any device using the connected cloud. It is not a legacy client-server solution that's been tweaked or modified to run in the cloud. It was built for the cloud from scratch. You have flexible deployment options, whether you select the public cloud or the private cloud. Pricing is not based on per user pricing. It's based on the IT infrastructure you consume. That's important because then it enables you to extend it to all employees if you so desire, and perhaps to external team members. And hopefully we also notice that Acumatica is analyst approved and customer appreciated. Now that brings us to the end of our presentation, and I'm going to see if anyone's added any questions. I'm going to go ahead and unmute, and does anyone have any pressing questions that they would like for me to address? I'm going to unmute everybody, and I hope this doesn't cause a problem. In fact, I think what I'm going to do, okay, I'll just do that. Anyone have any open questions? That they would like for me to answer? I think I've unmuted you. Okay, if you have a question, you can unmute yourself now, theoretically. So if you'd like to pose a question, please do so, and I will try to answer it as best as possible. Okay, well, if there are no questions, I would like to thank everyone for your attendance today. This particular webinar was intended to review the performance metrics. If you have interest in seeing things in more detail, such as how transactions are processed, or you have an interest in any particular module like payroll, please reach out to me. My contact info is at the bottom here, and I believe you all have my emails. And please reach out to me and let me know if I can help you with this. I'll be following up with you next week sometime, so be on the lookout for an email from me. And with that, I would like to thank you very much, and we will go ahead and conclude the meeting. Thank you.